What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I was listening to the RebelFM podcast with Arthur Geese and Anthony Gallegos and the other dude. Why I always forget his name. Anyway, Matt Chandronay. There you go. Talking Orange on Twitter, I think. Whatever. He's a video guy. Anyway, they were talking about Tears of the Kingdom. I was about to say Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom, which is, for all intents and purposes, a glorified, very long expansion. It's not a sequel. It is literally the same map that they changed a little bit here and there. They added some mechanics. 5 years later, they have this. Now, they spent a good, I don't know, let's say 35 minutes, 40 minutes talking about the game, right? But most of that time, I'm going to say 89.72% of the time was spent talking bad about the game. Like, oh my gosh, this and that and the third, and Controlling Link sucks, and this and I was like, what? Wait, this game got 10s all around? But these guys are just like, nah, I don't want to. Matt Chandronay at one point said, yeah, I was playing it, and then I forgot what it did, but he said, I just stopped. I didn't want to play anymore. I didn't want to go back to play. I was like, ouch, that's not a 10. That's not a 10 out of 10. And there's other complaints about it, from them. It was like, it takes 20 something hours to feel like you're just getting into the game. I'm like, come on, son. And that's not even like, I understand it's an open world game, but it's not a new game. It's an iteration of Breath of the Wild. And 5 years later, this is what you get? This is all you get? And so, here's my thing. If Microsoft would have pulled this, if Microsoft would have done this, reused the map, like Sony does with Spider-Man, like Nintendo does with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they would have got dogs slip-slapped up and down the internet. But when Nintendo and Sony do it, oh, it's okay. Just let's turn the blind eye. Oh, the game is brilliant. It's good. It's great. It's all this stuff. I'm like, the hypocrisy and the bias is so strong that I'm like, you know what? I really am sick of it. And I don't know how many more videos I'm gonna do on the media bias and just the industry bias, I would say, which is mainly media. Because believe it or not, what the media put out there affects the perception of customers and consumers. That's what the whole E3 used to be about. It used to be about these companies going up there and showing their best stuff, and then everybody in the media and all these, IGN and all this and EGM and everybody else be like, oh, the game of the show was this, that, and the third. And everybody watching like, oh yeah, that's the game of the show, and then everybody would go buy it. You know what I'm saying? So media has a very strong impact on the perception of the public of these games, of these companies. And the fact that the media is helping these companies do things that, do they deserve it? Okay, let's do it this way. They can help Nintendo, they can help Sony. They need to help Microsoft too. And not have negative stories on something that doesn't really deserve a negative story. Now you can say things about, well, they promised this and da-da-da. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond them promising one thing and then going against their word or whatever. Because Sony's done that many a times. Nintendo, I don't know. I don't pay too much attention to what they do. But the bias is crazy strong, and I'm like, how is this being allowed? What and why? Why is the media so pro Nintendo and Sony and so anti Microsoft, Xbox? Why? Give me a reason why. Did they slap your mama or something? I mean, I want to know, because it doesn't make sense. Are they getting paid by Nintendo and Sony? That would make sense. Is it that they get free consoles and stuff? I mean, Xbox giving out free consoles too. I just saw, what's her name? Julia Harding? She's British. She's usually on the Xbox shows and stuff. She's got tattoos and piercings. She's a really cool lady. And she just got she got the Diablo 4 Xbox. I mean, it's just a regular Xbox, but she get the big like chest and all. I was like, I don't even have an X. I don't even have an X. I got an S. I'm in the ghetto. I mean, I could buy an X, but honestly, priorities. But it, I can't. My brain hurts a lot thinking about these. I was gonna say the machinations, but it's just like the different little cliques and the different opposing forces of the industry, and how the industry is ganging up basically on Xbox. And Xbox, out of the three big ones, is the biggest. Well, let's just say Microsoft, out of the three big ones, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, those are the parent companies. Microsoft, bigger than all of them. And the fact that they're bigger, and the fact that they're gonna flex their muscles and buy Activision Blizzard King. Oh, we're up in the tizzy. I mean, Nintendo's not. Nintendo's like, yeah, we don't care. We're good. Yeah, you do what you want. Because Nintendo has a plan. Nintendo has a plan that's actually working. The fact that they're playing into their ability to give you games that aren't quite up to standard, I would say, up to the standard of PlayStation. Like you take the best Nintendo game and you put it up with the best Sony exclusives. Which one's better? Now, that's subjective. Obviously, it depends on what you hold important in gaming. Is it gameplay? Is it graphics? If you're a graphics whore, you're gonna say PlayStation. If you're a gameplay whore, which is not a term, but I just said it, you're gonna say Nintendo. And so I think that they have found an equilibrium, a balance, if you will, for their underpowered hardware to charge enough so that they're not eating any costs on those hardwares. They have a pretty good plan. Imagine if the whole industry reset to what Nintendo was doing, meaning Microsoft's next console. It's not as powerful as you would think it would be, and they're charging enough to not lose money on each unit. That's what Sony's kind of trying to do when they increase the prices. That's what they're trying to do. Or I don't know if they actually have done. Maybe they have. Maybe they're making like $2 on each console, but it doesn't matter. But imagine that. Then you would say, well, okay, then you won't get the super graphics that Sony's putting out. And, well, first of all, they can't really maintain that game production quality because it's costing them too much to make those games. Anyway, I'm repeating things. But imagine if the industry went all that way. Now, I know it's not going to happen because there's always going to be graphics whores, and there are always going to be people who enjoy gameplay more, and there's always going to be, strategy, different genres. So the spectrum of gamers is such that you just can't make one and done sad Walking Dad simulators. You can't do it because it doesn't satiate the hunger of all gamers. And Sony is soon finding that out right now because the sales of their games. I was listening to Giant Bomb and they were going through how many units that Nintendo games have sold, like Mario Kart, Zelda, all these games. They are selling so much more than PlayStation. It's ridiculous. And I will guarantee you that their budgets are nowhere near as big as Sony's. And so Sony's looking at themselves like, I said this before, Sony put themselves in a bad situation because now their customers expect these super duper bangers that cost so much money, and they don't make enough money to keep going in that route. Nintendo found a way. They said, we can make these games that are basically a generation behind, if not more, and they're selling twice as many units that Sony's selling at full price. They're not cutting their prices. They rarely cut their prices. And so I think they just started doing $70 games. I think Tears of the Kingdom is going to be $70 or is $70. And so I'm pretty sure Sony's looking at Nintendo like, ugh. And I think they tried to do that with like Concrete Genie and all these little games, Astrobot. I mean, that's probably their best bet, Astrobot. But they can't charge $60, $70 like Nintendo can. They can't do it. So, you know, that's one of the things that Sony's looking at and saying, wow, damn, I mean, they're making all this money on these crappy games. We spending all this money, and we ain't making all that money. They barely selling it. Man, Nintendo's selling 25 million units of Mario Kart. I think it was Mario Kart. Still at full price. Selling. Meanwhile, you know, Sony might get 25 million. But I think did Spider-Man get 25? I don't even think they got that high. And they're like, oh yeah, this game from Sony sold 10 million. I was like, yeah, but they didn't make enough money to justify the cost of the game because they needed to make 25 million. They needed to make more. But anyway, rambling. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about, excuse me, what do you think about the Breath of the Wild, the bias, and the fact that, you know, Sony and Nintendo get the Sony Pass and Nintendo Pass in reviews and in media reporting and everything, and Xbox is just getting stung on. You know, they get no love. I don't know, man. It seems a little sus to me. That's all I'm saying. But I appreciate y'all hanging out. But like, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Till the way.